Sup guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you the best 14.4 boss fleet that I have found to date. These days I pretty much farm 14.4 exclusively for the coin to oil ratio and commander EXP. I don't really have any main fleet ships to level, so in my mob fleet I drag along 2 vanguards that I want to level. If you find yourself in a similar situation, then this video should be helpful to you. Let's begin with the goals of the fleet, because for any fleet building exercise, you should probably have some sort of goal in mind that you want to accomplish with the fleet. So, aside from obviously being 100% consistent in clearing the boss without the help of lighthouses or flares, we also want to provide as much cross-fleet support as possible to the mob fleet, since we're leveling 2 vanguards at all times, so it is probably more difficult than the boss. First up, we have UVH, who is the most important part of this fleet because her cross-fleet barrage helps the mob fleet significantly with interception. Not only that, but her low cooldowns make her ideal for having high damage uptime, which is crucial in minimizing damage dealt to your main fleet. However, if you've had the experience of using UVH in this fight, you most likely will have noticed this one issue. Since she fires her main gun so often, she's always the first to get spotted and can lead to her getting focus fired and being sunk. In the past, I dealt with this by using Sadelits, but I found a better solution in the form of Musashi, unsurprisingly. When UVH is spotted, Musashi's skill 3 forces her to be revealed as well. Now, instead of UVH being focus fired, the enemies will now focus the much more bulky Musashi, who can easily survive all the punishment. She also provides a decently powerful cross-fleet barrage that Sadelits cannot. Doing Musashi levels of damage also helps. Both of their guns were chosen to maximize damage uptime while still being reasonably strong. I was using Musashi in my mob fleet before, but since I moved her to the boss fleet, I'm now using FTG to replace her in the mob fleet, who performs about just as well with her high reload and constant AoE barrages. Her fate simulation also made her a bit more bulky, and since she doesn't have a skill that draws aggro to herself, you can replace Aquila with Volga. In the last main fleet slot, using a carrier in combination with the 2 carriers in the mob fleet puts the fleet at air supremacy. In terms of cross-fleet support and damage uptime, nobody can compete with Independence. Despite how squishy she is, UVH and Musashi, both being spotted together early, play into her favor, letting her stay concealed over the course of the entire fight. You can see in the footage that Independence is never spotted once in any of these fights, which not only increases her damage potential, but also means that she is never targeted by the enemy battleships that would otherwise take her out easily. She is equipped with a fighter and wyvern because of the abundance of heavy armor enemies, as well as the concealment mechanic screwing over the targeting of rocket planes and aim torpedoes. Next up, we move on to the Vanguard. Starting with the tank slot, I'm using Anchorage. She's not only a consistent tank, but also really the only one in her class that provides cover for your other vanguards through her smokescreen. Her gun choice doesn't really matter much, and I'm only using the HE one because I didn't bother to change it from my PvP fleet. Ideally, you could put either a Drake gun or one of the new AP guns on her, but it won't make much of a difference. It's a good idea to not put any speed auxiliaries on your vanguard here, so that there's less of a chance of your vanguards quickly moving away from the smoke screens. In the off tank, I'm using Harbin, who deals significant anti-heavy damage and also has smoke screens. The smoke screen uptime is pretty good since Anchorage and Harbin have different torpedo cooldowns. And finally, I have Shimakaze in the middle because she has the best anti-heavy damage and also cross-fleet support, which is quite rare for a vanguard. Being sandwiched in the middle with smoke screens, she doesn't need any survivability auxes at all. The Vanguard options are a bit more flexible than the main fleet. For example, you could replace Anchorage with Yatsen or any of the large cruisers. If you have Kronstadt at 125, she would probably be the best option with her cross-fleet barrage at the cost of Anchorage's smokescreen. Instead of Harbin, you could put Plymouth, who is not as head and shoulders above Harbin here as she usually is, because her damage is aimed, which doesn't play as well into the concealment mechanics. But she is still better in terms of damage, again at the cost of smokescreens. You could also put a large cruiser in the off-tank slot as well, and also Yudachi or Jeanne d'Arc. In the middle slot though, you really want Shimakaze if you can help it, because there isn't much of a replacement for her cross-fleet support. And now I'm gonna put up the relevant stats that I gathered from the runs that I observed. The fight is almost always over before 1 minute and 50 seconds, and nobody ever comes close to dying. Anyways, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.